Hi everyone, Just James here, okay, bringing you yet another video. Oh my god, you guys, I know I've been gone for a while, but I took a long holiday break just for like recovering myself mentally and to really get some work done on these dolls. So I have a good chunk of these dolls ready, and I can say it right here and now. I'm actually planning on doing like an art show sometime this year. It's one of my goals I want to see done. By the end of this year, I hope to have mounted an art show with my dolls. I feel like I'm pretty close. I'll have more information on that soon enough. But in the meantime, let's talk about the reason for this doll. Now, let's talk about the doll of this week. She is Miss Bulma from Dragon Ball Z. Particularly Bulma from Dragon Ball is the look I decided on, but I was like going down a rabbit hole of like different like female characters that I thought were really impactful for me in my childhood. And I remember always having a very good fondness for Bulma. Now, Bulma is one of those great examples of really strong female characters in what is predominantly a very male-led show and male-focused. But when you really think about it and really dig into it, Bulma is probably the most important character in the history of Dragon Ball Z. Like, none of this would happen had Bulma not existed in this universe. Like, everything hinges on her. And if she had never stumbled upon Goku in Dragon Ball, there would be no story. So, without Bulma, there is no Dragon Ball. But that factoid aside, she's also a very important character in the legacy of Dragon Ball Z and all the different timelines in which she has existed. And I want to talk about it because I don't think enough people really talk about that. We always focus on like Goku and Vegeta, Cell, Majin Buu, like all these great iconic characters, but we kind of paid Bulma dust. Like, Bulma was iconic in her own right. Like, she didn't take any shit. She was super smart. She's kind of a Nepo baby, not gonna lie. Like, she is the heiress to a gigantic fortune, but she's nothing to slouch at. Like, she takes part in the family business and is constantly inventing and finding ways to innovate with her family's access to technology. I think we all would love to have, it's like a little capsule you could throw and suddenly have vanity. I know as a drag queen, I always would love that. Not to mention, Bulma is super stylish. Like every single season, Bulma would switch her swag up. Like she'd have a brand new hairstyle, a brand new look, a brand new outfit she would wear. I decided upon the classic Bulma look where we first meet her, the pink dress with the braided ponytail and the gloves and everything. Like just this nice, fun, girly look, super femme, super cute, and super like out of place in this very masculine, male-humored kind of show. I had to say what really drew me to Bulma wasn't even actually for Dragon Ball, because believe it or not, I wasn't around for Dragon Ball. Like it didn't air when I was growing up. I saw Dragon Ball Z, and I clung to Bulma when she had the bowl cut, or when she had the little short shoulder-length hair with the red band across her hair. That's the Bulma I remember. When they're on the planet Namek, that's really where Bulma started to shine and like really started like sink into me as a character. But aside for sanity's sake, I was going to rest upon this classic look where we first are introduced to Bulma. One, because it's the most easy to make, and honestly one of her most iconic, and what you think about when it comes to Bulma. Like this is the most cosplayed version of her I've noticed. So let's show you the doll I came up with for Bulma. Here she is. This is Bulma, and I think she came out super cute. I have her little outfit I made, which you might recognize this fabric as the James Mansfield beautician outfit. This is what I have left the fabric, and it was actually a perfect match. The belt I got from Amazon. This is just a piece of stretch fabric that I cut into a scarf, and I actually found a Dragon Ball keychain that I just took the keychain off of, and it's a Dragon Ball, and it's the big oversized ones. I think in this era they had the little tiny ones, like the ones on Earth. This is more of a Namek Dragon Ball, the big old thick ones. But let's take a look at Miss Bulma. Now, this translated so well. I had to make a few things for her, and there's some reused assets. Like when it came to the glove, I actually had this made, and I actually reused the Betty Boop pattern. So the Betty Boop arm with the bracelet made her orange bracelet. And on her other hand here is a little glove, a small tiny little glove that I actually pre-made a while ago just to have like little cowboy gloves in case I want to do cowboy characters for my doll line. But I'm most proud of making her shoes. Now, I took a creative risk with this. I made a creative decision. I decided I did not want to give her flats because she would not streamline with the rest of my dolls. So I took a creative risk and I turned her sneakers into heeled sneakers, which kind of reminds me of like when they're on that scene in Romeo and Michelle, we're on the treadmill and they're wearing those high heel sneakers. That's what kind of got me thinking of when I was designing these. I used a sphere and created a sock inside of the sneaker, so it's a nice oversized sock hanging over the sneaker to give that look that she's wearing a full-on like tennis shoe. And when it came to everything else is basically just reused assets. I found these little ribbons at Daiso that I put in her hair and it's glued on. And her hair is basically a simple pullback ponytail. I took some fringe out to give her iconic like messy fringe, as well as create her braided look in the back. So it's very much like almost classic Lily Barbie, but with a braid instead of a ponytail. I wanted to pay homage to like that classic anime look and sort of give off that a little bit of illusion in the face to give it more of an anime look. Like she's got smaller lips, her eyes are more detailed and has a few more like water lines and things like that. I feel more like white catch lights in her eyes. But I'm very, very pleased with how she came out. I think she's super, super cute. And I'm so proud to introduce one of the most iconic women in early anime, Miss Bulma. Honestly, I don't think she gets enough of her flowers, especially that movie with Future Trunks. I remember watching that all the time growing up with my sister. Like, where it's taking place in the future, like this is basically the apocalypse after the androids have taken over, and all that's really left are a few survivors, Trunks and his mother Bulma, and all the heroes are dead. They were killed by the androids, and they're basically just waiting for the world to end, and Bulma creates a time machine with whatever she has left to send her son back and warn everyone in the past of these androids that are incoming to take over the world. And she ends up sacrificing herself in the movie, and it was very, very touching and something that really left an impression on me. Like this mother's love and just this like powerful woman at the end of her rope, and was doing whatever she could and sacrificing everything to save the planet. Which I think is such a super cool thing about Bulma, is like, no matter what season she's in, the greater good is always on the top of her mind and always top priority. Before anything else, it's always about like, well, how can I save the world and how can I make the world better? And even though she's not much of a fighter and there's really not much evidence of her being like in fights or physically defending herself, she always used her wits and her brain to get out of every sticky situation. And I love that. Let me know what your guys' favorite Bulma moment is. I'd love to hear it. And who are some anime characters that really left an impression on you? I love to hear it. All right, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, bye.